I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
We are the CRM Players, and we're still in Atlanta. I like saying we're still in Atlanta. We're at the AXS Summit, and you want to introduce the man in between us right now?
You mean the godlike creature in between us? Right. That would be John Taschek. John Taschek, the SVP of Market Strategy of Salesforce. Man, I've known, 17 years, I think, something like that. Prior to Salesforce, a leading influencer, literally, and this is going to really date both of us, in the world of computers. That's literally,
Computers?
that's what they used to call them.
Wow.
Computers.
Like
Right?
those desktop things?
Right. Right.
Is that
This
abacus
is back
involved?
in the days of Gateway 286s.
I
That's
had a
right.
Gateway 2000.
Whoa.
That was higher power, I think.
Yeah, I used to.
This is before Gateway was Gateway 2000.
Oh yeah. Ted Waite used to come to the Spencer Cat parties that we used to have. and-
Spencer
that-
Cat Party.
Yeah.
Holy
Oh,
God,
yeah.
man.
That's dating.
That is beyond dating.
Well, thanks for joining us. And I like in addition to all the stuff he just said, he's a Rams fan too. At least
I am.
He started out a Rams fan. He kind of went the wrong direction there.
Yeah, I went to the left coast, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 49ers. They look pretty good. Almost got away with it.
Yeah, almost,
Although I
yeah.
have to admit, I was rooting against them.
Yeah.
Definitely was
yeah.
rooting against
Yeah.
them.
You know how we've been friends for 17 years? That ends today. Just kidding.
My new friend David West wears a Yankee hat.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. He's
I think
a
he's
Yankees
that for
fan.
you. I mean,
Well, hey, first of all, thanks for joining us. We've been trying to do this for how long now?
For 17 years. Listen, we've been around 11 years. 11 years.
There you go. All right.
Literally, and this is like awesome.
how'd you trap me this time? Like, what happened?
You're stuck here.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
stuck.
we
Right.
just kind of gotten,
Basically, I don't know if you realize, but the gates actually lock and you can't get out. So we already told the guard, you don't get out till this is done.
All right. All right.
So we're good.
All right. Well, since we're at the AXS, the Ambient Experience Summit, what's your thoughts so far of the conference? This is like the first year they're doing it. What's your thoughts?
I like this conference. I like the format, the 20 minutes of, pure thought. It's kind of high level, but it allows you to network with people
Yeah.
and talk with them afterwards. I love that format. That's why, Ray and team and you guys have put together such a fantastic format for a conference. So I get a lot out of it. Yeah, absolutely.
So, in your mind, what's an ambient experience?
Why does everybody kind of like chuckle at you?
Because everybody knows how ridiculous it actually
Yeah,
sounds.
well, I was like, when I first got the emails with the invitation, AXS, what is that?
Right.
What, you know?
Isn't that like the underarm deodorant?
Or is it a sorority I forgot of? Like, what is it? So what is ambient experience? I guess this is one right here. There's ambiance around the Porsche driving place, and there's an experience that we're having right now.
Well, speaking of which, you actually did the driving
Oh.
experience. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh yeah. So there's a course right behind us here, and we're basically assigned drivers. And the first one, it's a kind of taking a Porsche Cayenne SUV, stock SUV, and doing Land Rover Discovery type things on it, and pretty amazing. That's the driver is driving us, and then I drove a Boxster, and my driving instructor yelled at me quite frequently because I'm used to stopping at the 150-foot level. He wanted me to stop at the 6-foot.
Oh, my God.
Like slam on the brakes. I thought it was clear about this. So then it got better.
I heard you got a nickname too, like Goggles Paisano. Is that?
Oh, hey, yeah. I'll be in the Cars. What number are they? Cars 4?
Well, so, look, you missed Salesforce, 13 years, 14 years now?
16
years.
yeah.
60, so,
Going on
okay.
17 now.
Yeah,
over the
okay, so
summer.
actually then I've known you 19,
Yeah.
right? So, because it was 2 years before that. And so, you're SVP of Market Strategy. It's actually a unique title. No other company I know has that exact title. And what you do is different than most other companies, the way you approach it and what you do. So why don't you run through it for people? Because look, you're kind of an inner circle guy there. Everyone knows you have a large team reporting to you. So kind of explain how
How it all began?
Yeah, and how it works.
Well, I don't know. The market strategy title, I mean, I basically was looking at something that was taking input from a lot of people outside of the company and trying to bring it in. And if I had marketing in there, it sounded completely wrong. Especially when Mark Benioff said, "Don't listen to any of our marketing. Go do your own thing. Figure this out. You're the CEO of one." And I said, "Okay, that's great." So I created a title that I didn't think existed. And that way I could set up the team the way I wanted it to. At the time, there was only me, and then over time we got a little bit of analyst relations, and it's been getting bigger and bigger. So what the job is now is I run competitive intelligence, which is actually run by another person who is the actual competitive thinker these days. The influencers, like a lot of people already, Vala Afshar being the most prolific, probably most popular Twitter guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always say, if you only had to follow one guy,
Wow.
that's
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man.
Yeah, and then the analyst relations program, which is we don't even call it analyst relations. Yeah, it's different. Mostly because there are relationships with the analyst, obviously, but the analysts are my friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what, look, the one thing that's why in the watch list this year, you guys won for the best program, right? Look, ultimately, no company does what you do, which is you treat influencers, analysts, journalists, anybody all those people you want to reach out to externally as a singular group, and you have no qualms about letting all your staff and all your reports be their friends, their actual personal friends. You don't stop people saying keep some professional distance, blah 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 blah. They know their jobs. You trust them to do their jobs, and I've always found that. First of all, for me, you are literally the paradigm of those programs. I mean, and it's the one that when companies ask me about, it's the one I describe as your model. It should be what you do. But to be honest, very few companies do that. And most of them, you have analyst relations for Gartner and Forrester and maybe IDC.
Yep.
And then you have another tier, which is like Constellation and possibly me.
First thing I did was untier. I untiered all those firms.
So, and what was your thinking when you did that?
Well, there's two thoughts. One, I was in the press, and I remember the way I was treated.
Yeah.
and I went
Sweet
for
revenge.
The second was I felt that that the firms obviously have some brand to them, but if you're an inbound organization, it's actually smart people, and they could be anywhere.
Right.
And it was kind of lucky that I was just thinking this way at the beginning, because I found a lot of smart people early on, and they helped guide my career. Your mentors, they're advocates, they're saying things that are invested in the success of me and Salesforce at the time, and so that was huge. But I didn't care where they were. So the other thing that happened at the same time was I had a job opening for head of AR. And we interviewed about 40 people, and everyone said exactly the same thing. You got to pay your dues to Gartner. You got to pay your dues to Forrester. It's a game that you have to play. And I said, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I said, like, basically, Amy Lynch and I did it.
I remember that.
Amy Lynch taught me about analyst relations, the way it's supposed to be done, and I did it the way I do it now, I guess.
Well, I wish it was the model for the whole industry, but to your benefit, of course, you got the best model, so you got the leg up.
Well, we have an advantage because, again, Mark Benioff told me to be the CEO of my own company, and so we have had executive investment from the day one.
Yeah.
We're not a peripheral organization.
No.
We're right there. And that makes a huge difference that we have the support of the company.
I just would like to say thank you for shedding your tears, because get it, shedding tears.
Okay, it's still early in the morning, although it's 3 o'clock.
All right, so going back a little bit to the conference, what's been your favorite part?
Well, I did like Jason Wild, who's
I'm glad you can view things
yeah.
agnostically.
I like the sports one quite a bit too. But really, my favorite part of the conference is hearing a little bit of what people are doing and then talking to them later.
Yeah.
So that's because by design it's 50,000 foot level in some of these sessions, and if you want to go lower, in altitude, then you got to talk to the people. I mean, I think that's a great design. And
yeah,
and it's way better than, like, I go to a lot of conferences. Slide, 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 slide.
Glazed over.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy the way people think that they're communicating and are not.
Yeah, you do go to a lot of conferences. Actually, there's one in particular, a little one. It's called Dreamforce, something like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, how many people go to that again?
Well, 171,000, something like that.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah. And I've been to every Dreamforce. Not that many people.
You've been to
claim
every
that.
Dreamforce.
Yes.
How many have there been?
What years? There have been 16. So,
Wow.
so we're going to be on 17
I
coming
think I've
up.
been to at least 10 then.
I've been to around 10.
Yeah.
I missed the first few years because I was always busy, and since then I don't miss it.
The first one, there were probably 500 people at the company, and maybe 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people came. But there was already love kind of built into it, so that was.
I'll never forget my first Dreamforce. It was 2004. It was on election day, and they had this George Bush lookalike there, and people were freaking out because they literally thought it was the real deal.
There were people I was next to who stood up and saluted, and it was
No
a
kidding.
comedian, but he looked just like
He
George.
was that guy you saw him on TV all
Yeah,
the
the
time.
guy, he was
Yeah.
really,
I'm like,
he was
why
the
would
best.
George Bush be here on election day?
Right. Why not, man? There was the future of 171,000 people were at stake.
Yeah, exactly. That was great. That was.
Well, you have some. You have some classic entertainment at times at Salesforce, I have to say.
Yeah.
At the events. Although, honestly, I mean, you do a lot of road shows too, like and sort of second level events like Connect and others like that. I mean, how many of those outside of Dreamforce? Do you
70
do?
or so. I'm not in
God.
the marketing department, but I think
No,
it's
but-
roughly 70. And there are more. There's base camps, which are smaller, more intimate. There's the customer road shows that we do, which are not really shows, but we test our messages and things like that with our customers. There's Dreamforce and there's World Tours. World Tours are pretty big in major cities.
One that you are directly in there for is coming up in a couple of weeks. It's the Analyst Summit. Maybe you can give us just a little preview of what we might be seeing.
Well, we try to shake it up every year, and it's really hard because.
So what? George Bush is coming this year?
Well, don't spoil it. No, I don't know who's coming this year. No, it's going to be. It should be fun. 50 analysts in a great location. It's going to be. We'll all be at the top of the tower, be able to look at.
What a
thing.
building!
Yeah.
It's an awesome building
Yeah.
with a great restaurant.
Great restaurant. Yeah.
Salesforce East. What is it called? Salesforce East Cafe.
The Trailblazer Tavern.
Trailblazer
There
Tavern.
it is.
That is the food is terrific.
Yeah,
That's Michael Mina, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well done, Paul.
Yeah, no.
He knows his food and booze.
I do. Food and booze. Look, Esteban gave me a good bottle. Let's just say, and I gave him one.
All right.
All right, well, we're going to have to wrap this up because I got a panel to do, and my battery just hit the under 20% mark, so I guess I better do this. I'm Brent Leary.
I'm Paul Greenberg.
I'm John Taschek.
We are the CRM Players, and he's an honorary player for today.
And we're out.
There it is.
Thank you.